What's up, everybody? I am working on my editing settings screen, I should say, but I'm actually editing the way it's working right now. So that's what I got going on here. What's up, everybody? I am working on. All right. So what are we looking at here? Well, when I last left this, I was working on the import and export. The import is giving me some troubles still since last time. I have been working on it, but what you're going to find is a lot of the documentation that you search for is going to be related to document apps, which is not what this is. If you're using a SwiftUI document-based app, it's going to make this a lot easier for you because you can just import, export, or load, save documents, and drag and drop them to the app and send them to the app, and it's all got a lot of stubbed code in there for you. But the problem is that doesn't really help much unless you actually want to work on separate documents, because it's based on like a document browser like you see on iOS and iPadOS, where you see the Files app, and that is not what this is. So I got to really rethink how I'm going to do that. So for now, the import's not working. Export's fine, but the import, I'm gonna have to come about this a different way and do a whole bunch more research, and I'm gonna save you the trouble of sitting there watching me do that. So today what I'm doing is working on the settings screen here. Need to add some more stuff on here. Gonna put some links for some help, maybe some stuff like that. Got to think about the onboarding screens. The onboarding and the import are the only two features now that are not in here to make it feature complete for an MVC. So really hoping that going to get that working soon. Just research, and I'm going to save you the trouble. All right, so let's have a look and see what we got going on here. Gonna move a few screens around here. Just checking the stream settings; those look good. All right, let's get on with this. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is add a few details here. Just going to put a few little things. I think the first thing we want to do is got a couple of buttons down here. We really need to have, I think it's always beneficial when you are providing an app to someone, and just in general, to have the version number in there so that you can always say to someone, hey, what version are you running? So I'm just going to add that in here now. What I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to add some static text. And then later on, what I'm going to do is I've got to research it. I'm going to pull in the actual version number that goes in the app settings, so it's always up to date. All right. So for now, I'm just going to put version 1.0. Right. Going to change the text though. Don't really want it to look like that. It just needs to be a very small, almost kind of like a footnote type thing, like that right there. Now, these were okay in the center, but it doesn't look great. So what I need to do is I need to go in here, and I think we want to have a spacer in here. Let's see how that looks. Oh, actually, my bad. Don't want to put the spacer in there. I want to put it in there. Yeah, the version number at the bottom is fine. These import presets, export presets buttons are fine up there. Going to put some more content in here as well anyway. So I think what we need after this is we're going to want a button with an action that I've yet to define. So I'm going to leave that for right now. Going to add up the label. And this is just going to be a help button. So let's do that. It's going to fail right now because it's expecting an action. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this one in here just for a second. I'm not actually going to run this anyway. We've got the help there. Actually, you know what? Does it make more sense for the help to go up above? I think it probably does, right? You're more likely to want help than you are import presets and export presets. Hey, Coco Type, how you doing, buddy? How was your stream? Did you get all of your weird problems solved? Coco Types stream. You should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. Awesome stream. Good guy. I learned a lot from watching him as well. And it also taught me that, hey, you know what? We all have issues to work through, and he does a good job at debugging stuff. All right, so we've got the help button here. I need to put some space above this because it's going to look awfully cramped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just need to change my screens here. I want to get the simulator up and running here. You solved a bunch of things? That is awesome, dude. Most of the weird stuff is fixed up. Hey, you know what? You want to get that early in the week, right? So now you can deal with the really complicated stuff at the end of the week. Oh, yeah. You getting ready for WWDC? I hope anybody is watching this and you're a, Apple platforms developer, you're getting excited about WWDC. I know I am. Got some special things going on this year with the podcast as well. And maybe a few other things. Going to have some friends working on some stuff with me. So I think you're going to enjoy it. So you may want to go to compileswift.com/podcast. Subscribe to that. Play back all the previous episodes. But the new stuff for WWDC, I think you're going to find it exciting. I know I'm looking forward to it. All right. Let me change something around here quickly. That work? Yep, there we go. Okay, great. We got the simulator running here. Now, the reason I want the simulator is so that when I play this, I want to see what the spacing looks like on the settings screens up the top here. So we're going to go in, hit the settings. Yeah, so these are rather high at the moment. We're going to fix this. There's going to be some other items added on here as well. You can see there's actually a weird inconsistent spacing right now between the buttons, because the buttons don't have, I haven't set a height or anything like that on them. And then this button up here, of course, it's sort of tucked up a little bit behind there. So we're going to need to add some space there. But if I just put a spacer, all it's going to do is it's going to put it all right back in the middle, which, it's not the end of the world, but it's not the prettiest either. But actually, that right now is better looking here than it is up there. So we've got the help, we got these. I'm going to add the onboarding screens, and I think what I'm going to do is maybe add a button on here to give the user, the idea being with onboarding is when a user uses an app for the first time, you want to give them some screens or something just to prompt them to say, look, here's how you do the basic things with the app, right? And then once they've seen those and done them once, you don't want to bother them with them again. But if you're anything like me, you don't use an app for a while, you go back and you're trying to remember, like, oh, what does this stuff do? So you may want to turn that back on again. So what I'm actually thinking of doing here is having a button that will reactivate the onboarding screens to help the user. Now, what I'm trying to figure out at the moment, and maybe you can all weigh in on this, is what you think is best. If I go over to the content view here, so when there's no presets, right, you're going to see this text like you do here, and it clearly tells you to click the plus icon up here. What I'm wondering is if I do full screen onboarding screens, so for example, right, this makes it very clear you click the plus. So when you go over to the plus and you add this one here, and I give you, like, some instructions to enter the preset name and so on, do I do that as a full screen and sort of show you an example graphic, as it were? Or do I just do it as a little tip, like a little popover that comes up and says, enter preset name and so on, and then once you've done it once, you get the idea, right? And then I don't show it again. I'm in favor of the less obtrusive way, which is to just have a pop-up on the screen. But the thing with that is sometimes it's not so obvious to the users that you're prompting them. They'll get the idea very quickly that it's not going to be there all the time, right? So if I run this, and I'm going to go over and I'm just going to hit the plus here, right? There will be something that will pop up here, says enter preset name. Realistically, I want to set this as the first responder. This box should be active when you go on the screen. But the beauty of this is, you see, if I go back here and do it again, when this is not active, I can have a pop-up appear here, and when you tap to activate this field, I can make that pop-up go away, and you've learned the experience of, okay, I'm going to go through and click on each of these things, right? And then, you know, maybe when you get to the bottom one, I'm going to highlight to save here or something like that. Or maybe when you've entered a few, it's going to say save here. You see what I'm getting at? So that's what I'm thinking. I got to play around with some ideas. I was looking up for some libraries for really good onboarding sequencing, and I found a few, but there's nothing really out there for SwiftUI based stuff yet. Plenty of stuff for storyboards and for doing it by code, but not an awful lot for doing it, you know, with SwiftUI. And I thought to myself, well, with SwiftUI, you could probably just build the views and display them over the top. And that actually gives me a good excuse to learn and understand the layering with SwiftUI, that indexing that says this one's on top of this one, right? So you've got like the view, and then you've got another view and another view and so on. So that would be a good excuse to go away and learn and play with that. Especially with dealing with, the problem is when you have a layer like this and a layer like this, and you want to click on the top one, you want to make sure that those tap events don't filter through to the bottom layer. Now, I learned that the hard way years ago when I spent a lot of years writing Flash-based applications, like kiosk applications and those kind of things. And those fall-through events for the UIs when you're tapping stuff, you learn very quickly to make sure that you wrap up those kind of edge cases where that could happen. Because there's nothing worse than having a pop-up appear on the top, and then you've got a keyboard, and you click on the pop-up and it clicks the key on the keyboard, right? That's kind of the thing I'm talking about. You don't want that to happen. You want only whatever that top layer is to respond to something, not the layers underneath, right? So once that top layer comes off and you got that next layer down, now you want that one to respond, and then the one below it, and so on. Does that make sense? I hope, hopefully it makes sense about these layerings, right? Got to figure it all out, so got to work on that. But I'm confident that I can figure it out eventually. And I'm pacing myself on this because this is a personal project. There is no urgency to get this out the door other than I just want to. But I also want to take my time and do things right and learn some of the best ways to do these things as well, right? Because chances are, whatever I'm doing here, at least some of this stuff is either going to be reworked or replaced with WWDC21 this year in a couple of weeks in June. So I'm also pacing myself that I don't want to just dive in, finish something, and then great, I'm going to ship it to the store, and the next thing you know, whole bunch of new requirements from Apple, and you got to do a bunch of work. You might as well just wait and see that work come into the workflow as I go through it. Anyway, that's all that stuff. So, you know, because part of what I want to do here on this channel is it's not just about the code. In fact, you know, developers who've been doing this for a long time will tell you, you know, you spend more time working on everything else than you do on the actual code. And it's important. It's important that you understand the thought process and workflows of a developer and developing an app, and all of those soft skills that go around them, because that's also what makes the app really good, right? You know, you can write the best code in the world, but if you don't give it to the user in a good, meaningful way, they're either not going to relate to it or they're just going to not like the app and not use it, right? So you got to really focus on a lot of that stuff too. A lot of it is stopping and looking at it from a user's perspective, because the way I think you're going to use an app and the way I build it so that you use it and the way you use it, probably not going to be the same thing, right? And eventually when something gets to market, that's when you discover that. You know, at least that's been my experience with the apps that I've got out there in my day job. All right. Okay. So anyway, back to this. Let's go back to the app settings. So we've got the help button. What I'm thinking is going to be the best thing here, and I've thought about this week, is I got two options. I can either do a help system in the app, which is fine, but since you're on a device that's capable of viewing web pages, I'm actually thinking that you're going to hit the help button and it'll pop up a web view and load up a web page or web pages that I set up to help guide you through this app. Part of the reason for that is, again, it's something you just learn over time. You get a gut feeling for content that you know is going to change more often than the app released itself, right? You don't want to be having to do a new app release every week because you update the help files. It makes much more sense to have that stuff somehow outside the application, whether it's outside on a web view that you load up or it's JSON data, whatever it is. It makes much more sense to have that in a place that you fully control, where you can change that 100 times a day if you want, and it has no relevance to having to ship a new app to the App Store. So that's a little bit of a tip there, because you never know how those app stores reviews are going to go, right? Sorry, not the reviews, the releases. Especially if you got to ship something in a hurry. So the more stuff you have outside the app, the easier it is for you to update that stuff in real time. Now, that said, you don't ship an app to the App Store that's just an empty shell, because the chances are Apple are probably going to they're going to come back to you and say, look, this app doesn't do a darn thing, we're not letting it in the store. You don't want that to happen. The app has to be meaningful and work fully for the user, but there is plenty of stuff you can set outside the app on a web page or something like that can change the way some of the features work or some of the data provided in the app, but you're not actually changing the core of the app itself. Because again, if you do that, Apple's probably not going to be too happy with you, and you really don't want to get into that mess, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it open up a web view. So this would probably go to a separate screen in the app that'll be a full view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file here. I'm just going to create a SwiftUI view, and we're just going to call this help. All right, we're going to hit the resume here. Not going to see anything except the hello world. Yeah, great. So again, always looking to figure out how new things are done here in SwiftUI. So far, I've not done a web view in SwiftUI yet. I've used them plenty of times in storyboards and code-based. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to find the window here. Going to go to what is it? Shift Command L, is that the library? Yep. And I'm going to look for a web view. Now, I'm going to find the right one here. I don't want the snippets. I don't want them where's the organize? Where'd it go? It's been a while. View. Library. Nope, that's the same one. Is it WebKit now? Apple isn't even a great friend. You definitely don't want to want them as an enemy. You're absolutely right. Without getting into too many details, I have been very lucky with reviews when I have submitted apps, and they've gone mostly smooth, mostly very fast too. So I want to give Apple full credit to that. Now, I will say though that Apple needs to work on the consistency of the people reviewing. By that meaning that I had a review once where they came back and they said it was related to some the new data transparency, privacy transparency stuff in Apple that we all had to add to our apps. So I added one. We put it in, submitted it. Everything was fine. Release went out the door. And then it was like 2 or 3 days later, we needed to do another release for something. So released it, did the thing, pushed it up to the store, and they were complaining about the thing, the string that we had put in for the transparency basically 3 days earlier. So I was like, oh boy. So we respectfully replied saying, look, if there's something wrong here, please tell us, because you got to be nice to these folks, right? Remember, they are a monopoly. You got to be nice. It's the only way you're getting your app in. So we said, look, thank you, but 3 days ago we did a release and this string was fine. So if you can let us know what's wrong, we'll figure it out. Well, about an hour later, of course, it just magically went through review and was fine, which was great, but I feel they need to get back to you, right? They're never going to say, oops, we were wrong. But it's just an example of how two different reviewers can see things very differently in the space of just a few days. And it is very much a kind of a roulette wheel approach, if you like, a lucky gamble. You're either going to get someone that's going to review it with a sensible eye, shall I say, or another one who will question things that have never been a problem. And that's why you need to make the path to the App Store as smooth as possible. Human interface guidelines, read all the Apple advisories and everything else related to the App Store, because you really got to stay on top of that stuff. And that in itself is a skill right there, right? You almost need someone on the team who's very familiar with all the latest things on there, so that when you come to do a release, they can scan it through quickly and go, oh, we should be good, or there may be an issue with this feature, right? That is definitely something you need to stay on top of. And I have no doubt, again, it's all going to probably some changes, DC this year, so we'll see how it goes. But you're right, don't make him an enemy, keep him your friend. It's the only way into the App Store. Debatable whether that's right or wrong. Lots of people have lots of different opinions on that. I'm not going to give mine. It is what it is, right? And we have to live with it. Anyway, okay. So we've got this help screen here. Now, at my day job, we now include a zip file with all the common rejection reasons explained, and with videos explaining why we're not violating stuff. That's actually a pretty good idea. I like that idea. Coco Type, thank you for that. I have to think about that. I think that anytime you can provide them something when they're going into a review and you say, look, we get it, you may question X, and we're going to explain X to you now so you don't bounce it. We then have to explain it to you afterwards. That's a really good idea. So that is definitely something worth thinking about. So thank you for that. I have to give that some thought. That is not a bad plan at all. Thank you, sir. Hopefully you've not had too many rejections, right? Hopefully you've had a pretty smooth release path through the years, I hope. As with all of you, I hope you've all had a pretty easy time of it. We're all going to get those reviews now and again. You just have to learn to roll with them. You always hope it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to get this urgent patch out, because it's always going to be that one, right? So what I'm looking for here is actually adding a web view component, but my brain is shutting down on me as to where those are. There should be I'm trying to remember the shortcut here for the library. But when I look in here, it's like if I put in like a text component, it doesn't come up. That's the one I'm looking for. But I think it's web. But I don't need to delegate it. I just need a web component, unless of course a UI web view that embeds web content in your app is being deprecated. Gosh, you know what? I'm having a horrible thought here that maybe SwiftUI doesn't have one yet. Let me see if I can find this here. Hold on. Let me pull up a web browser. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. Web browser. Okay. Why do I suddenly have a bad feeling that there isn't one yet? Yeah, so you could wrap an old view in a SwiftUI view. I guess that's one way you can do it. That works. For those of you who don't know, you can actually create old views. You can take old views and embed them in a SwiftUI application. And if I recall, you can do the reverse as well. So you could have, not everything has to be SwiftUI based. All right, you know what? My coffee's getting cold. I'm going to be right back, folks. I'm going to grab some more coffee here. All right, I'm back. Okay. I know what you're thinking. He's in Texas. It's 1 a.m. and he's drinking coffee. Yeah, welcome to the day job and the night job. That's when those side hustles and the projects get you. It's like, well, I got this great idea and this thing I want to do, and it's the middle of the night, so I'm just going to do it because I'll forget by the morning. All right. How do you implement delegates? We use to extensions. Controller. All right, so that's one way we can go. Let's see if there's any others. Create a web view in an iOS app. Let's see if everyone's doing it the same way. Yeah, no, that's not SwiftUI. Page view. Oh, hacking with Swift. Why didn't I even think about hacking with Swift? Paul is awesome. Now, what is this one? I think I'm going to have to end up wrapping it. Let's try that. Let me just move this out the way over here for a second. All right. Oh, yeah, that'll do. Let's just make it full screen. All right. Import WebKit. I'm going to cheat. Well, I'm not cheating. I'm just going to save myself some trouble here. I'll see if I can. Okay. Static file. So instead of calling this one, we're going to call web view with a request, which is going to be a URL of type, which is let me start again. The URL, which is going to be a URL of, and it's a string. And I am missing something here. String. String. Let's just call up my website for now. Just gonna close that one. 1, 2. I feel like I'm missing one. Request. Oh, I'm an idiot. Web view request. It's a URL request. Start again. URL, there you go, that's why. Close it out. Errors, please go away. Please, errors. Oh, no. What do we think? Gonna work? Let's find out. Where did my... Did I close it? No, there it is. Simulator. Okay. Well, this would be rather convenient, wouldn't it? All right. Place your bets. Oh. Hang on. You know what? I was foolish because on the settings screen, I didn't change it. Did I go help? Yeah. Help.to expected. Yeah, you're right. I may have to fix that. Actually, you know what? This shouldn't. This needs to be a navigation link. And let me take all of that, go back over to the app settings. Let's get rid of all of that, put that in there. Don't want any of that. Well, destination is going to be help. Don't need any of this. In fact, don't need any of that. Let's get rid of the stack. Let's just add a text link just for now. Please don't bomb. All right. Oh, please, come on. Click the help. Okay, it goes across. Ah, where is it? did fail provisional load for frame, domain, that could just be because I'm running in the browser, in the simulator. Let's see. I'm going to run it on my phone here and make sure, because I never trust the simulator. But where is my phone? Anybody seen my phone, my super expensive phone? Can't be far. Alright, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Alright, let's try it again. Got the phone. Waiting for it to load. Talk amongst yourselves. iPhone is busy copying cache files from device. Okay. See, this is what happens. You should always, when you do your updates on stuff, on your OSs, run everything before you go on a live stream, because now you have to wait for Xcode to catch up. Gotta wonder what cache files is copying, right? All right, come on. Still waiting. All right, so we got it running on the phone. Let's see what happens. Okay, same error. So it's not going to be the simulator. Let's jump over. So we are missing something here. Just going to copy in this other bit of code here. URL request, URL string, yada yada yada. I'm not seeing a difference between mine and theirs. Just to make sure I'm not crazy, what I'm going to do, take that one out of there, put that in there. I wonder if there's something else I got to do. There's no load or anything, right? Oh, the hurry up and wait dialogue. Yeah, right. we love sitting watching these dialogues, right? Nothing. We spend most of our day like waiting, loading, caching, updating, transferring symbols. This is just all good fun. All right, try it on my phone here again quickly. Nada, nothing. All right, let's switch this back to the simulator. So you will get to suffer the pain with me. There we go. Help. And then, all right, what does this tell me? Starting web filter logging for process, yada, yada, yada. I feel like it's just not loading anything. That's going to foul because it doesn't have anything in there, right? Yeah. Let's see. Because you should always blindly copy and paste code when things aren't working. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Can I find type web view controller? I wonder if it's just called web view now. Watch this not go well. Yeah. I bet it's called something else, right? The error code you're getting there is an SSL error, but I'm not sure why you'd be getting that for apple.com. Oh, interesting. Let me think. So I have SSL on my website. Apple, well, like you say, should be fine. Oh, I know why. Hang on. I think I was foolish. Maybe I just got to put that in there. Couldn't be that simple, right? I just had it wrong. There you go. Awesome. Coco type, well done. You're a genius. Thank you. And wow, my website looks really awful on that screen. Probably gonna have to. You know what's weird? Let me see. Didn't look like that on a device. Hold on. Now I'm worried about my website. Well, it looks better on a device, but it doesn't look much better. The problem is the menu up here, right? Everything else looks fine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that menu. Yeah, I know what it is. The other day I put in some dividers, so it's like Twitter blurb, Instagram blurb, and that's not working good. But good job, sir. Weird negative. Awesome. Okay, so www.osstatus.com. Let's pull that up because those weird error codes, they're never any fun. Thank you. Let me put that in right here. I'll bookmark that. I look up error. Oh, fantastic. Let me show everybody. So Coco Type has given us this website here where you can put in these codes. This is awesome. I gotta bookmark this right now. I had a bookmark. Let's just put that in there for now. Thank you, sir. See, love the Swift community. And like I say, you really should check out Code Type's stream if you haven't seen it. It's just awesome. And he really knows his stuff, as you can tell. All right. Okay, what else do we got here? So, I've got the help screen. I haven't built the help screen yet, but what is funny, though, is like you say, shouldn't this one show up in the preview here? Seems like it should, right? Okay, fabulous. Thank you. That is that one taken care of. Let's go back to our app settings here. So we got the help button. Got some spacing issues there I've got to work out. What I'm actually going to do is change this one to a button. Action is going to be nothing. Label is going to be exactly that. Because I just want it to space out nicely and look presentable. Minus 1022 was NSURL error app transport security requires secure connection. They could have just told us, right? Years and years of scar tissue. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, not sure why it's not appearing in the preview. Because life, right? I do like the one, I'm tickled by the scar tissue. I think I'm going to start using that. Years and years of scar tissue. Look at it. It made this face what it is. You thought getting hit by a bus was bad? Do 20 years of coding. Oh, great sense of humor. All right. Okay, now the button's got the padding there. I need to add the padding here so that everything spaces out nicely. Great. I'm torn what to do on some of the UI stuff on this. I'm trying not to go over town on it. But, you know, at the same time, the app itself is designed to be used quickly to recover things, right? Again, when you're out in the field taking photographs or whatever, you just want to get to the data quickly. You don't want necessarily fancy stuff happening, sort of pointless animations and foo-foo graphics for no reason. But at the same time, I get that the app looks really, I don't want to say boring, very early iPhone-y kind of thing, right? But that's kind of the goal here, right? Is let me do the thing I need to do and get out, right? I don't need to wait for, you know, foo-foo animations and fancy blah, blah, blah and everything else. And this is an MVP, right? So, you know, other than here it is, hit the pencil, go in, edit, update it, come back. I have some future goals for this where I want to be able to add a sample image so I know what this preset looks like and those kind of things. But the MVP is really record my preset, view my preset, edit my preset, delete my preset, spend the rest of the time taking photographs and having fun, right? That's kind of the point of this. So I don't know. I like the clean UI, but I get it. It's functional and it's not exactly the sexiest looking application in the world, right? But that wasn't its goal. So, you know, got to think about that. I'll probably play around with it. I have obviously not designed any color schemes or any graphics or anything like that yet. But I'm going to do some of that, and I'll probably dive into Sketch. What we could do is, probably in a future stream, is I'll take what I've got here. We won't be in Xcode. We could drop into Sketch and I could work through some of my design process of how I do these things. I think that would be just as interesting to everybody as writing the code, right? Would be the thoughts behind some of the design process and things like that. So that's something that I'm thinking about as well. All right. So I've got the help. I got to make the help web page. again, if that's something that interests you, because it is for me, I consider that part of the application development process, is the web part to go with it. And, you know, I have some 20 years of web development background as well. So if that would be of interest to you, let me know in the comments, or, you know, things like that, or reach out to me on Twitter at CompilesSwift or compileswift.com/contact. Let me know, because I would be more than happy to go through those things as well. Because like I say, you know, this process of making the app here, this part, is only part of the entire thing to making an app from beginning to end and getting it out on the store. So if that is something that interests you, please let me know. Okay, I think I'm almost at a point where I'm ready to call it quits here for the day. I've actually achieved what I wanted to get done quicker than I had planned, and I am spending a lot of time the next couple of weeks working on the plans and the preparations for the DC content when it gets here. A lot of testing with some other folks to, you know, get everything working nicely. Probably it's going to be a good test for the M1 Mac Mini, because there's going to be a lot of video and audio flying around. So that'll be a thing as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this one here for today, now that I've achieved what I wanted. And then I'll pick this up again. Sometimes during the week, there's going to be these shorter streams, because I'll be honest, the workday gets long quickly, as I'm sure you all know. But I also want to get this content out for you. And I don't necessarily want to do too much to this app without you seeing it, because I would, you know, there's nothing worse. I think you come back to a stream one day and suddenly there's this code base that you've been seeing and it looks very different, and you're wondering what's going on and why did he do this. I kind of want you all to see this as it evolves, to help all of you as you're working through it as well. So with that, thank you everybody. Go to compileswift.com. You can find me there. And I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, be sure to check out Cocoa Types stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/CocoaType, if I remember rightly. And I actually have it set it up to host it on my channel when I'm not doing it as well, so you can catch it there, because it's awesome, man. He's awesome and helpful as well, as you've seen. Have a good night, everybody, or a good morning, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for dropping by, and thank you again for the help. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves.